Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head down to England once again, and this is a beer that came highly recommended from my English beer tubing friends. So we're going to return it to Berkshire this time to do my second review from Siren Craft Brew, and this is their $10 shake. So this is a 6.6% IPA, and they've added mango, papaya and passion fruit puree to the brew this one, so it should be really nice. Fruit smoothie IPA. It was rated 98 overall on Rate Beer and within the style when I checked it out, so it should be pretty damn good. Rob from Hopscene is the one that I remember saying that this beer was one that he particularly enjoyed, so make sure you check out his review on the channel if you haven't already. But as always, I hope you guys enjoy the review. So anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from Siren before. No doubt there will be more added in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the whiskey and sake reviews and the interviews and stuff that are up there as well. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and the support of the channel that you guys give is always hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Siren Craft Brew then. So Siren Craft Brew was founded back in 2012 by Darren Anley in Finchampstead in Berkshire in England, and he'd previously been a home brewer and actually had worked on most of his recipes prior to establishing the brewery, but most of the recipes they used initially were completed in 2010, but they were only bottled in 2013, so it did take them a little bit of a while to actually get going and actually go from the kind of planning stage of the brewery through to the execution. But since foundation they've been growing really steadily, and they've been increasing their range and also their brewing capacity as well. So in 2014 they actually had to add a new bottling line to the brewery, and they're consistently ranked very highly by Rate Beer and Beer Advocate. The last time I reviewed one of their beers, these guys were actually listed as the best brewery in England on Rate Beer. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but that kind of tells you that these guys are a very good brewery. But the brewery is named after the sirens in Greek mythology, who were women or winged creatures whose singing lured unwary sailors onto the rocks, and the brewery names their beers accordingly onto this. So they do have the 7 beers, if I remember correctly, that are named in this manner, but they're really quite prolific. They've always got new beers coming out, and like I said, they are regarded very highly. So if you get the chance to try some of the Siren beers, I really do recommend that you have a look at them, because really quite good. The last one I had from these guys is one that I really enjoyed. So anyway, that's enough about Siren just now. As I said, the links are in the description below, so you can check out the brewery website for yourself and have a look at all the different beers and things that they do. This one, of course, may well be a limited edition, so if you get the chance to try it, I highly recommend that you do. So this one is a 6.6% IPA. It's brewed in collaboration with Brewdog Shepherd's Bush as part of the 2016 Collab Fest. It's hopped with Amarillo, Cascade and Citra, and has a malt base of lager, wheat, Munich and melanoidin malts. They've got some flaked oats and lactose in there, as well as additions of mango, papaya and passion fruit puree. So it should be a really nice one, this. Definitely looking forward to this. And like I say, my English beer tubing friends highly recommended this one. On the back it says $10 shake. This beer was originally brewed in collaboration with our friends at Brewdog Shepherd's Bush as part of Collab Fest 2016. We put our heads together and decided we wanted to create a fruit smoothie of a beer. So this is a juice-packed IPA with the most fruit we've ever used in a brew, plus a huge hit of lactose for a thick and smooth body. So it should be really nice, this one. Definitely looking forward to it. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. There you can see there, $10 shake. Just bring it back into the light a little bit, and there you can see the sort of the hop flowers and the fruity things on the side there, and there you can see the sort of siren tail. I really do like that actually on the bottle of this one. I do like the siren artwork. So I need to review more of these beers, but as I've said to you before, English beer can be quite difficult to come across both in Scotland and over in Sweden, so we have to savour it when we do get the chance. So yeah, let's get this guy open and we'll get on with the tasting then. Really looking forward to this. So yeah, nice smoky opening on this one, as you can see, and we'll get it out and into the glass. I've got a feeling that this one is going to be really quite nice, because it actually looks like one of these kind of New England style IPAs. It's got that kind of fruit juice character to it, as you can see as it pours out there. Reminds me of the kind of amazing haze from Stigbergets and the GBG Beer Week beer. This one looks very, very nice. So as you can see, it's poured a really kind of dark, but still kind of bright actually. It's quite dark towards the bottom, If I shine it right up to the light, it does even go a little bit darker than that, but it does look as if it's just a kind of tropical fruit juice, this beer. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. The head, incidentally, is just fading away, but it was a kind of almost perfect white head there. There was about a half finger of it, but this beer looks absolutely lovely. You can see just one or two tiny little bits of sediment in there, but you can see the beer is pretty much completely opaque. It looks absolutely lovely. So yeah, exactly as you'd expect from a kind of fruit additioned IPA. So let's have a look at this guy and see how we get on there. We'll have a look at the aroma first. It smells lovely, this. I'm actually getting quite a bit of orange from it. You can really pick out the Amarillo hop in this one, but you can smell the other kind of juicy elements to this beer as well. Of course, when it comes to IPAs, there's a kind of distinct difference I always find when it comes to the fruits coming from the hops and from the additions to the brew. So if they come from the additions to the brew, they always go around the edge of the tongue, and the edge of your tongue feels a lot more juicy when it comes to fruity flavour than it would normally if they're extracted from the hop oils. The hop oils, of course, for me, they tend to come out on the just behind the front curve of my tongue there, and that's where you get a lot of the oily hop character. But that's the key difference between adding fruit to the brew and extracting the flavour from the oils, at least in my experience. It might be different for others. But yeah, it smells lovely, this beer. I'm getting quite a bit of the stuff, the orangey character, that big distinct orangey character from the Amarillo. But there's a lot of mango coming out of this one for me. You can smell that slightly, almost, it always reminds me a little bit of bamboo. I've said this before, the smell of papaya, it just reminds me a little bit of bamboo actually. So I can smell that in there as well. The grapefruit, I'm not getting as much of. There, you can smell a little bit of underneath, but really it's the papaya and mainly the mango that's coming out. And like I say, some of that Amarillo hop is coming out of there as well in this one. But it does smell just like a kind of big fruit bowl beer, this, which is exactly what you'd expect. There's a wee bit of a kind of bready malt in there that you can pick up, but not too much otherwise. I'm not really picking up any of the lactose in this one, because it's really just overpowered by the fruit. But like I say, some orangey character in there, a little bit of grapefruit underneath, but you can pick out the mangoes and the papaya mainly in this beer. Maybe a little bit of kind of sort of lychees or something like that coming out of the beer as well. The citra hop, you can pick out a little bit of these lighter kind of citra fruits in there too, but overall it smells really nice. Maybe a little bit of floral character also, but yeah, mainly it's a big kind of fruit bowl beer. Like I say, mangoes and papayas and a bit of orange there from the Amarillo really coming out in this one. But it looks absolutely lovely, it smells great, so just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma for yourself before you get stuck into this beer. But we'll have a go at this one now. So this one is the $10 Shake, a fruit smoothie IPA from the Brewdog Collab Fest in 2016, brewed at Siren Brewery in collaboration with Brewdog Shepherd's Bush. Slàinte. Yeah, that is pretty damn good, I have to say. Wasn't really any doubt in my mind there. I was just kind of like whew, blown away with this one. That is really nicely done. You know, I can see why Rob and Dean, Harry and Craig and Gareth and all of these guys were really raving about this beer. It really is very, very nicely done. It's actually quite different from the other kind of fruit IPAs that I've done before. This guy has a lot of hoppy bitterness to it, and you can feel that just pushing its way out of this beer later on. Yeah, no, this is great. If you get the chance to try this beer, I'll say right away, just buy it. You know, I think it cost me about £2.50, £2.75 or something, but it's definitely worth it. It's a really, really solid beer, this one. You know, this could well be one of the best IPAs I've had of the year. Really is that good. That's really nice. Definitely buy up this one, guys. It really is that good. So just to break down the flavour a little bit, as I always say, sugar the beer around your palate and just let your whole mouth adjust to the beer before you start analysing the flavour. But in this one, the malt base is quite simple. You know, you've got that white bready character that just goes right across the middle of your palate. There's maybe a little tiny bit of biscuity sweetness there in the middle of the tongue, and you can detect that kind of smooth, thick character that's coming from the lactose in this one. You can really feel that in this beer. But this is lovely. This is a really, really good beer. I can see exactly why this is highly rated. The fruitiness in this beer is really quite good actually. So as I was saying at the start of the video, you know, you really can tell the difference between when they add fruit to the beer and also when it's extracted from the hops, of course. So this one's quite interesting. Behind the front curve of the tongue, I'm actually getting quite a bit of grapefruit character for this beer. You can feel that kind of just underpinning it a little bit, and then you've got the sweeter oranges. Like early on for me, the grapefruit's dominating that bit behind the front of the tongue where the oils come out. So there's a little bit of grapefruit in there, but then the orange for me starts to dominate it a bit later on. In the back corners of the palate, I'm actually getting a good bit of almost piney, resinous character, but it could well be, I think it maybe, as the flavour progresses, you start to notice that it's more of a floral and kind of aromatic, quite spicy character actually that comes out of the beer. So, and again, as the flavour progresses, you start to get more of this kind of fruity, you get the fruity juiciness at the start, and then the sort of spicy floral aromaticity just pushes its way out later on, and then the grapefruit flavour really is what's lingering for me. At the start of the beer, you're really getting the juicy kind of the mangoes and the papaya coming out on the front parts of the tongue there, and then the grapefruit starts to dominate on the edge of the tongue a bit later on. So it's interesting, you've got this kind of lingering grapefruit and spicy floral aromaticity, and then the orange character just behind the front curve of the palate there. So it's the Amarillo that's dominating in the sort of oil side of things, but it's the grapefruit that's dominating in the fruit additions for me. Yeah, I'd stick with that. You know, the oranges, I say, oranges behind the front part of the tongue. The mangoes and papaya for me are coming out around the front edge, and then just at the sides, it really is the grapefruit that's dominating along with that kind of floral, that spicy floral aromaticity that's in this beer. But it's actually lovely, and again, as the flavour progresses, you start to get a little bit more of these lighter, almost lychees, or these kind of lighter tropical fruit notes that you associate with Citra. This beer really is quite nicely done, and I can see why it was so highly rated. And it's interesting how they've managed to get such a spicy character from the floral aromaticity in this beer, because Amarillo, Cascade and Citra, they're mainly known for their fruity characters actually, rather than the rather than being quite spicy and floral. This one's usually tomahawking things that I always think of when it comes to the sort of more spicy floral hops actually, maybe even Mosaic a little bit. And Eureka, of course, is another one, but that's more pine resinous, of course. But this is lovely. You know, if you get the chance to try this beer, I highly recommend that you do. This one I would recommend for people who like their IPAs to be really a sort of, if you like a big floral and kind of spicy IPA, then this is one you're definitely going to enjoy. But at the same time, if you enjoy oranges and grapefruit, then you're going to enjoy this one as well, because it's got a little bit of both of those. And I mean, if you like the combination of all three, floral, aromatic, spice, oranges and grapefruit, then this one really is going to be like heaven for you. This one would be right up your alley if that's the kind of flavours you enjoy. But you know, overall it's a really lovely beer, and it's interesting because the sort of fruity additions to the beer, they dominate at the start, but then it's the hoppy bitterness that starts to push out a little bit later. So with this one, you do get an idea of how adding fruit to the brew can kind of change it and how it helps the flavour. If you compare it to other ones, it starts off with that wetter mouthfeel around the edge that I was talking about, and then it starts to move into a more regular kind of dry hopped IPA kind of thing after it. But again, a very solid beer, and I do like the addition of lactose as well. That gives the mouthfeel quite a bit of difference in this one. So in terms of the mouthfeel, I'd say this guy is kind of mid-bodied. The carbonation on it is quite smooth, and that's the lactose that helps bring that out. There's a little bit of oily character as well. Yeah, I would stick with that. And like I was saying, around the edge of the palate, it's quite juicy initially. You've got those juicy fruity characters in this one, but as the flavour progresses, the hoppy characters really start to push their way out. There's a lot of juicy fruitiness in this one. As I say, you get the oranges behind the front curve of the palate there, but then you start to get more from the grapefruit and the floral aromatic spice. So it starts off a bit more juicy, then it gets progressively a little bit more bitter, but the malt base in this one, like I said, is quite smooth from the kind of bready side of things that the beer has, but also the lactose just helps smooth it out a little bit. But yeah, to kind of conclude this beer review briefly, This one, very solid IPA. If you like your juicy fruits, you're going to enjoy this. If you like a big floral aromatic character, you're going to enjoy this. And if you like a hoppy bitterness, you're going to enjoy this. So if you like all three, this beer really is going to be good for you. Oranges, grapefruit, and floral aromatic spice, really the dominating flavours in this one. So like I said, I don't know if this one is a limited edition, but if you do get the chance to try this beer, I highly recommend you do. So the $10 shake from Siren Craft Brew in Berkshire in England, brewed in collaboration as part of the Collab Fest 2016 with Brewdog Shepherd's Bush. A really top class beer. Thank you to my English beer tubing colleagues for the recommendation on this one. This one is absolutely gorgeous, so if you get the chance, try it. But yes, thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out all my usual social media, but most importantly, let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always interesting to hear from you guys. Like I said, make sure you support your local craft breweries. If you get the chance to try the $10 shake from Siren Craft Brew, then I really recommend that you do. An absolutely lovely beer, and it's fairly cheap as well. As I say, I got this one for £2.75. So until the next time, Slanger just now, make sure you try the $10 shake from Siren down in England. Cheers.